That wasn't my best solder job. Out of my fingers. Well, that's not the prettiest job I've ever done. I think I got enough solder in where it needs to get in. I'll have to look from the bottom side. It's pretty hot right now. Uh, I had backed down too far on the heat. I probably should have kept the heat up. And I tried to put more flux on it to make it flow better, and it did. But like I said, it's not the prettiest job I ever did, but we'll see how it looks when it cools off. This other one I did, I can see I got a good uh, layer, filled up all the gaps good. And I think I got it here too. It's just I can't tell without flipping it over. We'll see. Let me cool her down. I got looking at it. They made quite a mess out of it. So what I did is I went in and heated from the bottom side, and that made a big difference. To get this whole pipe heated up, and then came back on here and pulled the solder back in where like it was supposed to be. And I'll show you. Turn around. This is very hot right now. And I wasn't using enough heat. I was being a little bit too conservative on the heat. But if you look right here, you can see there's a bond between this and this. It did a good job. And I got a little bit too much here, but I can clean that up. But I think I got a good bond, like I needed. My problem was not enough heat. And so I heating from the bottom, heating this whole pipe up. And the vise was probably drawing a lot of my heat away. And then also I had backed the propane off too far. So once I got the heat up and got everything glowing, you could see the silver solder get shiny along the perimeter right here between the two pieces. And that was telling me it was bonding really good. So I think I got it. I got more to go yet. I got to put the end caps on. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll figure it out. The end caps are much thinner. So I'm going to have to make sure I heat this piece up really good. Yeah, I got to have this on because I'm not going to touch it when it's hot. But I'll heat this side first, and then I'll come back in and bring the solder in to this because this will heat right up pretty fast. So we'll put those end caps on as soon as I get this cleaned up, and we'll go from there. It's so when you're building stuff, I don't silver solder every day. So when you're building stuff, you're learning, you're experimenting, you're designing, you're doing all the stuff that engineers do all the time. The only thing is this is a one-man shop. So here I am. And we'll see how it turns out when I get done. I just do this because it's fun. And that's what I hope that you would do too. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. I've done some more soldering. I put the end caps on, both end caps, and I've cleaned up this a little bit, but of course this got all black in when I put these ends on. I also have tapped. Here we go, get back here. I tapped this hole out. This is 1/4 20. I tapped this hole for 6mm 1.0 tap or thread. I have this hole ready for the copper tubing going to the valve that I made. And what I wanted to talk about right here is to show how do you get this off, because it's pretty hard. So I looked at what possibly could be done, and they're talking about using white vinegar. I have used white vinegar for cleaning a lot of stuff before, and I'm going to do it here too. You can see I've already did some cleanup of the flux. I did that with a small grinding wheel, but here's what I'm going to do. It tells me to soak it in white vinegar, so I'm going to do it with paper towel. Yeah, let me go around here first, go around the center. What I'm going to do is I'm going to soak this paper with white vinegar here in the vise, and it'll soften all that scale up. So let's do this. I'm going to get this down on there. Let me back out a little bit so you can see more what I'm doing. Then I'm going to wrap this around here. Then I'm going to wrap one more around the whole thing. Something similar to that. The idea here is to get the vinegar up against it. And you can see it's just old style white vinegar. I don't know where we got it. Old style, I'm sure, probably is the same brand as a whole bunch of other ones. Let that sit. Come back in about 5-10 minutes and we'll see what we got. Okay, I'm back. So we're going to see what we got here. I flipped it over once just to help the liquid go back to where it was. This just softens the scale that's on there. This is just green Scotch-Brite, by the way. It's not real coarse. If you were trying to do this without softening that, it's really hard. I tried it before. I put the end caps on, and you'd almost have to grind it off. It was that hard. Now I could soak this in a thing of vinegar too. That would work. I just don't have a container like that. Not right now. Anyways. And vinegar's fairly cheap. It's a good cleaner. Slightly acid. That's why it works. If you want to try it, take a penny. Well, find an old penny, one that's made out of copper, and put it in there. If you take a new penny, you might destroy the penny because it's not all copper. Okay, I'll let that set. I'm going to finish cleaning this up, and then I'll probably mount it onto the bracket I have for it that I made for it, and I got to pressure test it. So I'm going to try to find a fitting that I can put in there in the 1/4-20 slot. I'll have to be able to plug off the holes, or the other two holes, and put some pressure on it. I got to pump it. I pump it up about 15 pounds, maybe 20 pounds, and see how long it holds. So I'll be back. All right, there it is, cleaned up, pretty good. I probably could do a little bit more cleaning on this end. The brass looks really good. Actually, cleaning it up made my welds look, or my brazing look a lot better, or silver soldering. Next thing I got to do is first I got to pressure test this. Then I'm going to put this line in here, and it'll go down to, this will go down to my valve that I made, and then that'll hook to the motor, and that's where that'll be. And then I've got the pressure gauge. Pressure relief gauge, or pressure relief valve, goes in here, And that was, so if this tank gets overheated and the pressure builds too much, this will release it. And this is the fill. And I have this screw. This will screw in here. This will be the fill. I may put a T-handle on here or something to make it easier to do by hand. And I've got two gaskets, a fiber gasket and a rubber gasket. I'll go in there to seal that. I think that'll work. And I tried to find a 5/16 just to go up a little bit bigger size, and you just can't find them. I would have to make it. This is the fill hole, and so the idea that I wanted was to be able to put a larger opening to fill it. But it'll work. And that's that. It's coming around pretty good. This is the first boiler I ever built, so there's some learning curve on it. But overall, it's coming out pretty good. I'll see if my work is any good or not when I put some pressure to it. It really doesn't need to have a lot of pressure. With a 15 psi relief valve, it's not going to build much pressure. 15 psi isn't very much. And you really don't need a lot for this little motor. But if you're going to build a boiler for something much bigger, you're going to have probably some brass or some thicker material here. And then definitely thicker on the ends. If I was to do that, I could probably use this tubing here. Oh, I don't know if I got that sitting around here. I thought I had a piece I could show you the thickness. This is like schedule 40, I think it is. Anyways, it's quite thick. But I could make brass ends go in here, and then instead of making this insert, I would put screw into the brass and make a cap on each end made out of brass. That would make it much stronger. Once again, though, I'd have to silver solder, but the thickness would be more, and I'd have to come up with a better way to do it. I think using the vise here is just like a heat sink, so it's drawing all the heat, and I need about, I think it was 700 plus degrees for the solder to melt, and you want the solder to draw in with the heat. So all right, that's where I am right now. I don't know where I'll end this video, but there's one boiler. And I did drop it on the floor when it was hot and put a little dent right there. I didn't like that, but I can't fix it now. All right, I'll be back when I get to the next part. All right, I've got it in the pressure testing stage. I had to make a fitting to put the hose onto, so I went to the lathe and made took a piece of brass, turned it to 6 millimeters, and then put a die on it at 1.0. I've got the screw over here with a gasket on it. I had to make a clamp for that hole there and a piece of rubber, and pumped it up to 25 psi. This pump is not really designed to go that high. When I was getting up there, it was getting harder and harder to get to 25, but I made it. We're going to let it sit, and I see no bubbles, which is good. Remember, my pressure release valve, which will actually go in where the hose is right now, is only rated for 15 psi, so I'm way above that. And I probably think I could go higher. If I could find my other pump, I may try that. So I'll be back. I've got my timer on right here, and it'll take we'll come back maybe about, we'll just let it run. See how long we can go before it really starts losing pressure. So I'll be back. All right, it's been just short of an hour and I lost 1 pound. So, and there's no air bubbles. I think I'm losing it in the valve in here because no bubbles down here at all in the water. So I think I got a good solder. So the next thing I'm going to do is release the pressure if I can. I'm going to have to do it here, I guess. Let me get a screwdriver. And I let my pressure off. And so the next thing I'm going to do is take this off of here and move over to the other bench where I've been working on on the valve, I got the valve sweated on. By the way, here's the piece I made right here, this little piece. So, okay, let me pause it and I'm going to get you set up. Okay, I've moved the boiler over here to my stand, and you can see right here, I've already soldered these two joints, and that's where this valve will drop in here, like that, and it'll rotate. And I still got to put the spring on the bottom for tension. But what I'm doing here now, I'm going to take this off of here. And I need to line up this tubing with this hole over here. Something like that. So I'll have to cut it off right about there. And let me get my mini cutter. I think I've got one right here. Maybe a little bit high, maybe. This is tubing, I think, is for oil line, for oil pressure gauge on a car. Oops, going the wrong way. Don't want to cut it too fast, so I'll crimp it. I think I'm through. Maybe not. Here we go. Yeah. And I think I'm going to have to trim it off a little bit more or put a different bend in this. So it'll be something like that. So what do? I can pressurize this now. As a matter of fact, why don't I put tighten this screw back down? No, I can't do that. Not unless I solder that. There's no reason I couldn't solder it. Well, I guess we can try that. And for this, I won't be using silver solder because, one, you want to be able to take it apart again fairly easy if you ever want to do some repair on it. So let me just get my torch going. And this doesn't need as much heat. It's just regular plumber's solder for got too much solder on there. Probably too much solder wouldn't hurt. It's not going to cause any problems, but I just don't like the looks of it. There we go. That looks better. And there we go. Now, one thing I don't like about this solder over the old lead solder is the flowing of it, and the old lead solder, as soon as you took the heat away, it was setting up. This takes a little bit longer. All right, so now I've got a, I gotta put this where we'll start a fire. I've got this hooked up and that hooked up, and I'm thinking, I might be able to burn my fingers. Hook my hose up here again. Pretty hot. Probably should let it cool off. But let's get moving. You may pull a vacuum as it cools. But what I want to do is see if my valve is working, or do I need to? Yeah. I can't build pressure. So either my valve's not working, or I got another leak somewhere else. Well, that's not gonna work either, because this is going to be leaking down here. All right, I'm gonna have to probably put some grease in this because it's probably leaking around the side of it. So, all right, let me let this thing cool down, and then I'm gonna put some sealer on this, and put some grease in here, and put my spring on it so I got tension on it, because right now, I mean, it's a fairly snug fit, and it should work if we can build pressure fast enough. All right. Well, I'll be back. Okay. I've found my leak, but anyways, I've got it. So now I got it up to. I keep pumping it. It's over 20 pounds of pressure up to the valve now. So this is good. This is good. I do have a piece of rubber in here with a drill bit in it, because now I'm working towards this piece. So I'm going to let this sit. I don't know if I'll take it up to 25 or not. Like I said, this pump is not really designed to go that high. It's normally for a needle and seat on a carburetor. And you don't normally have 22 psi on that. More like 12. But anyways, it's holding. So that's good. So I'm good all the way up to here, and I'm not really concerned about this little short piece. That's, let me see what you're looking at. Yeah, this piece here, this is not, that's not a concern. I did check to make sure the holes are open, and they are. So all I got to do now is come up with a way to put this valve together. This goes in here, and then I need to be able to seal that so that when this turns, it shuts this off, shuts this opening off here, so this can build pressure. That would be where I need to go next. That's what I'll be working on. I need to get this in so she can start editing this video, and I hope to be able to put the valve in tomorrow. And I also got to put straps around this yet, and then it'll be pretty much done. But I'm going to let that sit overnight and go from there tomorrow. Try to finish this thing up and go for the next project. This has been a tough one. So there's no plans on this stuff. It's kind of like you just got to fix it as you go along and design it as you go along. I mean, I'm sure somebody could sit down and draw drawings and everything and plans for that. I do have some plans for other engines that somebody drew up. But this is the only part we started out with. And I have built all of this, and this valve. And if I can repeat this test tomorrow with that valve on there, we got it. Because if I can shut this off, I can pressurize this. Actually, with this, I'd be able to make this thing turn until it ran out of pressure. But there it is. It's coming along. It looks more like what it's supposed to. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here yet. I've got a couple straps that are stainless steel straps, and I don't know if I got them in here or not. I don't think so, no. But they're like tie wraps, except they're stainless steel. If I can make those work, I'll be putting those on. Just something to hold this in place. When I can see it's bubbling over here. So I'm probably going to have to get a different gasket over here on the back end. I put soap on here, so to test for leaks, that's what you do. You go with soap. And if it's blowing out bubbles, you got a leak. All right, well, I'm going to call it a day and head for the house and come back tomorrow morning. All right. I've been working on this thing. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it to work. But I have I pressure tested it to here, and now I got it to here. And I couldn't get the thing to work. And I found out there's a little adjustment right here. There's you're not going to be able to see it very well. Maybe I can turn it sideways. Let's see. Right here, this slotted screw here. So all the way should be to the left is forward, and all the way to the right is backwards. It times this. It times this valve right here. This valve right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm still going to have to mess with my valve. I'm going to put some, see how much pressure I got left. So what I'm doing is putting compressed air in it. I'm running out of air. Hold on, let me get more air. I'm getting more water than I'm getting air out of this pressure. I'm back. Let's try this. I got enough leaks in my hoses. Anyway, you can see the idea here. As my compressor runs down, of course that's what's going to happen. And it's one of the reasons I need to put a valve in here so I can build enough pressure in here to turn this. And once it's going and it's making pressure, you know, start boiling water, you're going to make more steam, which is going to make this work. I got leaks in my hose and leaks in my tank, and it's my small compressor, so it doesn't stay up very well. But there you go. This works up to this point, and I'm working on this valve right here that I have in here that I want to go in there so I can just shut that off long enough that it can build pressure up. Then you turn it and it starts running. This has been quite the project. And one of the other couple problems I had, one was the timing on it. That had to be done. And then you got to have oil in here, enough oil in there to make a good seal, because it doesn't have rings. It just has metal against metal, so it's important to have enough oil in there. And this over here, this shaft goes back and forth in front of this tube here and opens and closes the valve, so it's pulsing in here and feeding this piston that's in here. That's what makes it go round. And like I said, this adjustment here is forward and reverse, and it was in the wrong spot. So I kept trying things and it just wouldn't work, and it was setting in the middle, which is not going to work. Once I set it on one side or the other, it started working. And now now that I've got some oil work into it, it's actually working a lot better. All right, I'm going to end this video. My pressure relief valve isn't here yet, so I can't put steam in it. Oh, and by the way, I also have, you can see I put these straps on here. These are stainless steel, straps for tie wraps. Anyways, they're stainless steel, and I found those at Harbor Freight. This will come off, pressure valve goes in here, water will go in here, there'll be a tray in here to, down in here, tray goes in here with heat, fuel on it, you heat it, and it heats this tank back up, which will have water in it, that turns into steam. Steam comes through this tube, through this valve, and into this valve here, and you just start rolling, and it'll take off and keep on running. But you do have to make sure you add oil to all the pivot points. No grease in it. That's it. I'm going to call this an end to this one. I got accomplished what I wanted, and that was to make a boiler and get it attached to here. I'm still working on the valve. I'll get that finished. I don't know if I'll come back to it with a video or not. It depends. But because I got other projects. This is working, and we just started out with just this piece on the red here. That was it. This and all this wasn't here. And this clamp bone, now this will be gone once the valve's in place. But I appreciate you watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and let other people know. And have a great day.